Here we are, y'all. What's going on? Long Roof Lifestyle here. Wanting to check in real quick. Merry Christmas. Well, it's after Christmas now because it's actually December 31st at the time of this recording. But Merry Christmas. Hope that was good. Happy New Year. We're going to be going into that here in a couple hours. Hopefully everybody's doing all right, and I wish all my subscribers and non-subscribers too. Just, hope your Christmas is good, and I hope your New Year as well is just as good or better, depending on how you look at it. So basically what I've got going on here is a new camera. I've got the, what is this thing? Insta360 Go 3S. It's very, very small. It's about the size of a GoPro. There you go. You can see it a little bit there. And it's like detachable. It's kind of hard to see, but like it's got this little thing right here you can take out and whatnot. That's magnetic, and you can just place it wherever. It's pretty cool. But this is my first time doing a video with it, and I wanted to kind of give it a test run, if you will. So, while I was messing with the camera and just kind of playing around with it, I'm just like, what can I do that I haven't done to get this camera, a little run through, a little break in, if you will. And I said to myself, well, I haven't done a video on all of my cars, all three of them. All of them's been featured, in their own videos for, specific issues, how to fix this, how to fix that, what to do about this, what to do about that. But I said, well, I think it's probably time to do something like that. And I cannot see myself at the moment, so hopefully I'm in the screen. But anyway, so we're gonna start start this video off with my Toyota Celsior. This is a 95 model that I've had for going on 2.5 years or so. It's crazy to think it's been that long. It's not too horribly dirty. I washed it the other day, but it sits underneath the tree. You can see up there in front of my house. It sits underneath the tree. So, it gets the leaves and stuff like that on it. It's entirely stock in terms of the engine and everything like that. Which isn't a bad deal, it don't really bother me much. Like 130,000 kilometers, so that's like 80, maybe 90,000 miles, and it runs like a champ. Oh, another thing I wanted to do for this video is not only do the highlights of the vehicles, but also the problems for the vehicles. So I'll go through the highlights for this one real quick. Stock engine and everything, runs good, it drives good. It does need an alignment, but I don't drive it a whole lot. I might drive it maybe once or twice a week, and then maybe on the weekends a little bit, the shows. I don't drive this car a whole lot, so these tires last me a long time. Inside is stock as well. Not really anything to write home about. Got the doilies my wife bought me. My wife actually didn't even buy me. She got them from the place that I actually got the car from. And she surprised me with those a couple of years ago for my birthday. It may have been the first year I had this, actually, when she got them for me. A little dirty in here because I drove it a little bit yesterday, and it rained over the past couple of days, and then it's messy outside. Let's see here, what else is there? It's factory air suspension and all that. Oh, before I close the door. Yeah, factory air suspension, and it does have the little doohickey there that allows you to override that setup, so you can lower it and you can raise it. I can raise the front, I can lower the front, I can raise the back, I can lower the back, whatever. It does good. It does really good. I've got other sets of wheels and tires right over here. So these right here I got from a buddy of mine. He also owns a like a legitimate bag Celsior. It's not a factory air ride setup. His like tanks and compressors and everything. And he runs some really nice wheels, and he had these laying around in storage, and he asked me if I wanted them. I said, yeah, sure, I'll take them. So here they are, and I'm telling you, this setup here, this on that, it's the best riding vehicle I've ever rode in. Just extremely comfortable, extremely quiet. The car don't handle worth a damn, but that's not the point of the car itself. But I tell you, riding, like road trip, is just second to none. And I've also got my LS 430 wheels as well. You can kind of see back there. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I've got full factory spare as well. So I run those from time to time, but most of the time I run those guys right there. The factory LS 400 Celsior wheels from Japan. And those do have the Toyota centers. Pretty cool stuff. In good condition. So now the I guess you could say the lowlights of the car. So this thing is a 95, as mentioned. It's got some miles on it and whatnot. It does have a small coolant leak somewhere that I have not been able to find. It is so slow, and I question, because whenever I was doing the alternator, changing that out, I did that not too long ago, but can't really see it, but there's a, yeah, it's covered up now, but there's a small drain line, like a little rubber hose or something, that comes off of the radiator. I think that's where it was at. And there was a little bit of coolant on the end of that. And when I did the serpentine belt tensioner, you have to undo the some of the coolant and whatnot and drain all that out so you can access it. That's wild story there, but yeah. And I'm thinking that I didn't completely close it back, because when I did the alternator, the end of that little bitty hose thing has some coolant on it, so that might be where it's dripping out. It's extremely slow, doesn't overheat, etc., etc. I don't really worry about it. And I'm sound like a broken record, but I don't drive this car a whole lot. The little bit that I do, as long as it serves me well for that, I've got no problems with it. I rarely have to refill this thing anyway with as little as I drive it. What else was it? Oh yeah, there is also a small steering leak from the rack as well, which is also seems to be fairly common on these cars. It is from the driver's side, and I have not been able to pinpoint exactly where it's coming from. I keep an eye on the steering fluid level at all times, especially with these cars being known to dump the power steering fluid onto the alternator and make the alternator off itself. But really, that's the only two bad things about it. As mentioned, I replaced the alternator not too long ago. I was having charging issues. Thought it was the battery. It was the alternator. Replaced the alternator. Fixed. I also did the ECU capacitors as well. I did all 9 of those. It cost me $20 to have all 9 of those capacitors shipped in, and it took me about 5 hours of my time to replace them. That was probably one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done on a car. You know, if you do a turbo or something like that, you know, it's I mean, yeah, still nerve-wracking, because you could grenade your engine and whatnot if something goes wrong there or whatever. But for this car, I am not entirely sure if the ECU is specific to the JDM side of things. I think it is. Maybe not. I think it is. Either way, you know, it was still nerve-wracking. And being able to change it, and this car still runs. I don't have the key on me, but I could fire it up right now and it runs excellent. Plenty of power. And actually, after I did the ECU and whatnot, I actually gained a little bit more power without having to push the pedal in so far. So a little bit more power on the get up and go side of things, which is always good. Oh man, them air shocks are strong. Paint and everything is still excellent. Just so pretty, the paint on this car. All the way around, really. Just the paint is just in good shape all the way around, up top. And yes, it's a slick top. No sunroof here. All the way to the back. Dirty from sitting in here. It's not, you know, fully enclosed. It's open up there, so some stuff can work its way in from time to time, but for the most part, this is in good shape. I love this car. Like I said, I don't have the keys on me, but it will fire up without no problems. Get some coffee real quick. Now, moving on. So this is my daily driver. This is a 2000 Subaru Forester. I've done quite a few videos on it. And what else is there about it? So the good stuff. EJ20 swapped, done by a previous owner. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and kind of disclose that right now. The way you see the car right now is how I bought it. I take no credit whatsoever for anybody else's work on this car. I tell everybody and anybody, I did not make the car like this, with the body kit, paint, everything, the wheels and whatnot. I bought it like this. I bought it because at the time I did want a Subaru, and you know, I wanted a WRX or something like that, but the prices on those, even at this time, I bought this car in 2018, and even at this time was still just astronomical. And this thing popped up on Facebook Marketplace, and it ticked all the boxes. Never mind it being low and stuff like that. You know, it's got air conditioning, it's got heat, 5-speed manual, still all-wheel drive, you know, and it looks good. It's got the JDM STI kit from Japan that the Foresters came with over there, the SF5 generation, I guess you could say. This is SF6 over here in the States, but over in Japan it's the SF5. Interior, nothing to write home about. Daily mode, dirt everywhere, stuff. I drive this car every day. Out of all of my cars, this is the one that gets driven the most. It's got a stereo in the back. Well, let's see here. Yeah, little stereo in the back, and some tools left out from when I was working on my my other car over there yesterday. I'll get to here in just a minute. CT sound, AT1400.1D, 0 or 1 gauge or whatever the heck you want to call it, welding wire. Daggone Sundown, little E-Series 12s, like $100 a piece, very cheap. The box I got off of Amazon, it was a return, so I got it for under $100. And tools to carry with me and all that good stuff, because it's a Subaru and you need tools when you drive a Subaru. Let's see here. Nope, it's still on. Sometimes if this thing don't close all the way, that back light from my hatch stay on. Okay, it's off. Cool. So I'll show you all the motor. Nothing really to write home about, but since we're doing this type of thing, oh yeah, tweeters in the doors. That one over there went out. I gotta fix it. Tweeters in the doors. Pioneers 6.5s up front. There's a straight radio, no amp there, which actually still does pretty good, to be honest with you. It's not a bad sounding stereo. Could always be better, but could always be worse. If I can do this one-handed. There we go. There she is in all of her beauty. Yeah, EJ20. You can't see it, but the stamp down there, this is an EJ20 all the way through. Had nothing really to write home about here. Not really any leaks. The last bit of maintenance I did to it was the valve cover gaskets, which are relatively easy. Nothing really to write home about there. This car is relatively sorted. The biggest thing with it is the fact that the suspension is Raceland, and they get a lot of shit, or they get a lot of crap, which is understandable, you know, their budget and all that. These right here has been on the car since I bought it, and they're not that bad. My only complaint is this one up here on this corner here is starting to go bad for the passenger side front, but outside of that, they're not that bad. I've got a buddy of mine that rode with me, and he said that for Racelands, he's like, this is not bad at all. I mean, it could always be worse, you know. I mean, it could always be better, you know, with like BCs or something like that. But I mean, it rides good. I daily it, and I just, you know, just something you deal with. Probably the toughest riding, the hardest riding vehicle I've ever rode in was my uncle's Porsche 914 that he used to have, and he had KYB gas struts or shock, whatever the heck you want to call them, all the way around. And let me tell you, that car would bounce you to the moon, but that car would also handle like it was on rails. God, he's taking corners, you know, recommended 30 miles an hour, and take them at like 50 or 60, 70, whatever the heck you want to call it, and that car would not break traction to save his life. It helped that he had slicks on there too at the time. So yeah, that was a beast of a car. Rest in peace. So that's those two. Now on to this one, the yall Volvo. Now y'all know me, my Volvos. This is my second one. I don't have the key so I can't start this one up either. Actually, yeah, I do have the key. Okay. This is my Volvo. This is my most recent purchase. I got it earlier this year, like March, April, May time frame or whatever. This right here was a goal for me to get this year. I told myself this year will be the year that I get another Volvo, and I made it happen. Luckily, I don't owe any money on it or anything. This is my car. I love it. 1986. This is the B230F. As you can see, there is no turbo yet. My goal for 2025 is to actually turbo this car. I hope I can find an actual parts car, like a early 90s 940 or something like that. I like to find one with all the turbo bits intact and everything, and I'd also like to find a 531 head. This right here is the 530 head. The 531 has better spark plug placement and better intake qualities as well, and that's a pretty easy upgrade for this car. It's a direct bolt on and everything bolts to it. Exhaust manifold, intake manifold, all that. This car, I wouldn't really call it modified. I mean, technically I guess you could say it is, but it is, I guess you could say, modded just a little bit. Some previous owner did it with cut springs. What else is there? Straight pipe all the way back. Well, it goes back to a muffler, but after that little exhaust setup right here, there, it's all open. It's straight, no cat or anything on it. It's loud and sounds like a damn tractor. Let's see here. I have done a air conditioning delete because it did not work when I got it, and with the direction that I'm taking this car, didn't need it, so I yanked it all out. Especially that way, whenever I get my intercooler up here, it can get all the air. Let's see here, what else is there? I've done, you know, NGK wires on it, new cap, new rotor back there. I've done a lot of maintenance to it. New rotors and pads all the way around for the brakes. I'm finagling with my air intake here just for fun. Nothing too serious there, like literally nothing serious. I have not came across a 740 yet with a intake setup that is stock that I can pull from. So I'm waiting on that. But for right now, this right here will do it, because when I first got this car, like it just like flopped around. There was nothing holding it there except for the wire, and I didn't like that. And it's still not the best, but it's better than it was. This car does have it's got problems. Mainly being the steering here. The daggone steering rack leaks like crazy. Like, I almost filled this thing up completely yesterday, and it's almost halfway through. This thing leaks bad just sitting here, and it's even worse when you drive it. What else is there? So there's that. The interior isn't bad. It's an ox blood car. Dirty as well from me using it. This car is a lot of fun. 4-speed with the overdrive. When I got this car, the overdrive worked, but it was not properly wired. It has some type of toggle switch, which is, it actually may still be in here somewhere. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, that toggle switch right there. That's what was wired to this car. And it would turn like around third gear. It would build enough pressure inside of the transmission to go ahead and switch it on over. This transmission is the M46. It has a Laycock D Normanville, I think it's the J-type overdrive. These overdrive systems utilize pressure to do some witchcraft inside of the overdrive unit that attaches to the back of that transmission. Now, as some of y'all know, you know, the folks that's been following me for a long time, this is my second Volvo, as mentioned. The first one also had that same type of setup, but it did not work. I rebuilt that overdrive unit 2 times, and I could not get the damn thing to work to save my life. But this one does, which is really, really surprising. Really, really good. At around 70 miles an hour, when the overdrive is engaged, it sits right around 2,600 RPM or so, which isn't bad. That thing over there is like 2,900 RPM. No, probably more than that. I can't remember when it's oh, sorry, I got a notification. This thing's about to die here in a minute. I got 15% left, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up soon. But anyway, yeah, 2,600 RPM, 70 miles an hour. It does really, really, really good. This car is fun to drive, slow, and but I've kind of gone over a mix of the highlights and the lights. Not really very many highlights. It's fun to drive, 4-speed manual with the overdrive setup. It has way more low lights, so to speak, than highlights for sure. The suspension is very, very tired. Yeah. Get this thing to rocking. Yeah, get this thing to rocking. And it still keeps on doing it even even after you let it go. The suspension is totally shot front and back. Straight pipe, etc., but does not shoot flames. Now, one thing that is neat, it has fuel injectors from the 850. No, I don't think it's the 850R. I think it's just the 850. It runs really, really good. Another low light, if you will. I have been having some head gasket issues. Cannot really see it all that well, but this corner here likes to get wet. I also had head gasket issues with the first one that I had. I replaced the head gasket on it, and it still leaked right there. For the black one, when it leaked, it was right here in this area, right there. So, as mentioned earlier, I want to do the turbo swap and put a 531 head on it, and when I do that, that is when I'll, you know, get the head redone, etc., blah, blah, blah. It does not push coolant or anything like that. It does not drain out because of the head gasket. It does drain out, but that's a whole nother story with the radiator. You know, no mixture of of oil and stuff like that. That's still clean. Doesn't smoke or anything like that. It runs really, really good. I'm just, you know, keep an eye on compression and stuff like that, make sure nothing goes south, and it's good to go. It really is. This is a really fun car. I'll show you all the back real quick. How much time do I got? 12%. So this is the back and all that good stuff. Got some stuff in here from my daughter being in here. This car gets used as well. Headliner shot, no surprise there, common in these cars. The sunroof leaked like crazy when I first got it. I got all that fixed. I was going to do a video on it, but I decided to say the heck with it and scrap that. Things that I've got coming up for this car here, those two right there are relatively good, but this car here, I got 2 Rock Auto gift cards for Christmas, totaling $275. All that went to this car. I've got new upper hose coming. I got a lower hose coming. I got thermostat coming. I got the daggone thermostat freaking gasket coming. Air intake gasket I've got on the way. New radiator. I've got coolant on the way. I've got new spark plugs because for some odd reason I forgot to order spark plugs when I redid the ignition system. That's going to be fun. But oh, and most importantly, the steering rack. I've got the steering rack set up, well, rebuild kit on the way. IPD had that on hand, so I went ahead and ordered that. $45 shipped to South Carolina. And yeah, so that is going to be coming down the pipe. I'm going to do a video on how to do all that and whatnot. But man, that about covers it on all my cars. That about covers it in a 30-minute long video. And this thing really is about to die. It's in the red now. 10% left. So with that being said, hopefully this camera does okay, and I'll be able to use this footage. Obviously you'll know if I'll be able to use it because y'all will be able to see it. So that's it for now until the stuff comes in for the Volvo. That's all my cars, the ins and outs of them, so to speak. They're fun. They're a pain in the butt to keep up, but they're fun. Happy New Year. Hopefully everybody had a Merry Christmas, and I will be seeing y'all in the next one. Long Roof Lifestyle out.